cookies. Today we're going to go back to ancient Greece for the third time this year. You went there the first time with Mr. Rosano when you talked about the origins of democracy, and you went there the second time with me when we looked at mythology. Today we're going to look at argument, particularly persuasive argument. So different strategies that the ancient Greeks identified that you can use to appear credible to your audience, to pull on their heartstrings, and also to appeal to their brains. All right, so this fella here is a philosopher from ancient Greece. His name is Aristotle, and he is the person who came up with the way of describing different types of strategies that you can use to expand people's thinking about things and exert your influence to persuade them to your point of view. And he said there were different types of appeals. A rhetorical appeal, when done well, is something that strengthens your argument. So the example of the rhetorical appeals are ethos, which is that you're trustworthy, pathos, which is tapping into the audience's emotion, and logos, which is logic, like using brains. He also talked about fallacies, which are strategies that will weaken your argument. We're not going to go into those in detail, but I just want you to know that they exist. Just very briefly, I'll give you the example of ad hominem. It would be like, me trying to say to you, hey guys, it's really important that you read every day, and you come back with, you're a poopy head. That has nothing to do with anything, okay? So kind of weakens your argument, right? So let's talk about ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is the ethical person. So in other words, I'm making a video.
Well, I'll be quick. Can I just use your car?
Why?
Because I want to go out. I have to go to the store.
I'm not so sure, honey.
Why? You can trust me. I'm 18. I've had a license for a while. I'm not going to touch people. I care about the germs.
All right. Can I just think about this? I'm in the middle of a video. All right.
That's important.
Anyway, ethos, to persuade people to your point of view, you want to let them know that you have a good reputation. In the public eye, people work really hard to build their reputations. You guys do the same thing. You try to cultivate your reputation on Instagram or on Snap. You want to come across a certain way. The tricky thing about ethos is if you come across not as trustworthy, it's really, really hard to get that trust back. All right, pathos is the emotional appeal. This is where you're going to want to tap into people's heartstrings.
Mom!
What?
It's boring here.
I understand that, honey.
Just let me leave.
Honey, I know it's boring here, but
I have nothing to do, and it's sad, and it's horrible.
That makes me feel really bad. All right, I'm thinking about it, okay?
Okay.
Anyway, if you are trying to persuade someone of something, it's kind of like how you touch their humanity, and maybe tell them something that's going to make them feel in a certain way. So pathos can be kind of appeal to somebody's sad emotions, like we have the sad little puppy there, but it can also appeal to somebody's positive emotions as well. Any emotions kind of count. All right. Lastly, we have logos, which is the logical appeal. What?
Are you sure I can't go out? It's important, and I figure I can go out to the store and get some things before we're more quarantined and you're working, so I could do it.
You're thinking we're going to be more quarantined?
I don't know, but
It's a possibility, huh?
I should be able to go to the store and get some stuff.
All right. Well, you're making a good point, and you're using some evidence. Yeah, my keys are in my purse downstairs.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, elbow bump. Bye. All right. Anyway, logical appeal is where somebody uses research, statistics, a fact, to try to let you know the way things are and the way things should be, so that you can make your decisions. You got to be you got to be careful with logos, because facts, research, and statistics can be used to trick you. And that's something that we'll talk about as the year goes on and we talk more and more about building arguments. All right, so that is it. As we continue reading the narrative of the life of Frederick Douglass, we're going to start looking at how he applies these three different types of appeals